Hi guys, this is not a prison that I'm in. This is actually a recording booth, couch. Welcome to today's episode. I'm Marky, your host, and with that said, I want you to just enjoy it. Posted by user TotalCap8129, titled, "Am I the asshole for giving heirloom jewelry to my daughters instead of my sister-in-law?" My, 53 female, mother passed away 10 years ago, and I inherited a few select items of jewelry from her. Those are things that she cherished and wore often. I have been wearing her watch for the past 10 years. My sister, 50 female, holds a golden bracelet that she loves, and there are 3 items left that me and my sister have been planning to give to my 3 daughters, who were 20, 18, and 18, to commemorate 10 years since her passing. They always knew this and were close to their grandma, and there is also no quarrel about who gets what. Enter my brother, 48 male, and his fiancée, 38 female, of 2 years. My brother has been demanding one of the pieces for his future wife to wear. He claims that we never involved him in any of the discussions as to what should happen to the pieces, and we can't just claim those to ourselves just because we are women. He says it's very common for heirloom jewelry to be given to the daughter-in-law, and he and his fiancée even cited Meghan Markle and Kate Middleton as examples. Legally, there is no case to be made. My mother left those items to me. I have politely declined their request, explaining that I can't let one of my daughters go without, and that they were very close to their grandma while his fiancée did not know her. His fiancée is apparently distraught and claims that we don't see her as family. My father wants me to keep the items and give one to my brother so that all of my mum's kids eventually get one item, and I can do as I see fit with the rest. My sister kindly has offered up her bracelet. I am torn. I don't want to antagonize my brother and my sister-in-law, but I find my 3 daughters' claims so much more valid. They've been looking forward to this for years, and I don't want my sister to sacrifice her bracelet. If there were more pieces, I would not hesitate to give something to her. It's not a matter of money. I've offered other things out of my mum's estate, but they feel as though it's not the same. I'm also taking into account that my brother was married to his first wife 10 years ago, and despite having been close to my mother, she got no jewelry either, but was left 2 of my mother's watercolor paintings. I feel like my mother left these pieces to me with the intention of eventually passing them on to her granddaughters. Would she have subscribed to the each child or each daughter plus daughter-in-law has to get a piece of jewelry logic? She would have left something to my brother or his then wife in the first place. My daughters told me they would accept any decision I make, but I feel it would be highly unfair to burden them with any involvement in the decision-making. The choice is mine to make, and I have to live with the consequences. According to my father, they are debating to uninvite me from the wedding over this. I stand by my decision, but it's hard. I was always on good terms with my brother and cordial with his fiancée. So, am I the asshole? In the comments, OP, she doesn't want to feel closer to her new family. She wants to know that she can push your brother to get her what she wants, even at the expense of his relationship with all of you. It's a game she is playing now, before they get married, so she knows exactly how far she can push you all, and what she can get her greedy hands on with a temper tantrum, and some threats to exclude you all. Tell your brother the legacy he received is 2 watercolor paintings his ex-wife has, and he's welcome to chase her down for that if he feels so strongly about it. But your jewelry was a gift that your grandmother gave to you, and it is staying with you until you give it to your daughters. Friend, if you cave to your brother and sister-in-law on this, you'll be handing shit over as long as their marriage lasts, not the asshole. OP says, "Wow, thanks for the clarity and direct words. I'm starting to feel I was in denial about how bad this really is. It's worth mentioning that my brother obviously received his own inheritance as well." And to another commenter, OP says, "Also, he got a sizable inheritance back then, and his wife got 2 original artworks. Those jewelry pieces are worth approximately $1,000 each, while my mother's original artworks are valued $1,000 to $3,000. She was an illustrator. So the issue is really not me sitting on a $50,000 diamond ring while they received 2 worthless sketches." Someone else says, "Your dad presumably still had items from his wife? He can give one of his treasures to her. You and your sister and your 3 daughters got 1 item each, not up for renegotiation. OP says, we already offered, but she claims it must be jewelry so she can wear it on her wedding day. Well then, since the brother and fiancé seem to want to make the decision, ask them which granddaughter they feel deserves to be deprived of her grandmother's memento, and how they intend to compensate said daughter for her exclusion from grandmotherly keepsakes. Tell them that you cannot in good conscience hand over anything to fiancé unless they can give a reasonable answer to these questions. OP says, my husband actually asked them that, and their answer was they believe that the twins should share, which is obviously not going to happen as long as I'm here to prevent it. How does the sister-in-law even know about the jewelry? OP says, I plan to give it to my girls at a family dinner commemorating our mother's birthday next month and gave everyone a heads up. That's how she got to know. You have 3 daughters. Your mother left you 3 items. It's pretty self-explanatory. Your mother didn't have to spell it out for you. She just left them with you for safekeeping. If that wasn't her intention, she would have given them to your dad. Plus, your daughters had a personal relationship with your mum, their grandmother. You got the watch, your sis got the bracelet, your daughters get the other 3. OP says, thanks. I feel exactly the same way. I can't for the life of me see where my brother claims that we should have involved him in any discussion concerning who gets what, because in my view, it is absolutely clear who gets what. And since she left those things to me, it's up to me to make the decision. She could have left them to anybody else, but she didn't. What else am I going to do with 3 pieces when I have 3 daughters? Tell your brother to stick it. These are for your daughters/her bloodline. This is so entitled and ridiculous. OP says, I actually don't care so much about the bloodline thing. If my father were to die tomorrow, and each of his children would get some beloved sentimental items, I would be really pissed if my husband, who is very close to him, would not get anything. Plus, I really understand why she wants to have something to feel more connected to her new family, especially since she's estranged to her parents and won't get anything from them to wear on her wedding day. The problem lies solely in the fact that I don't have anything to give her without hurting other people. I will not prioritize her feelings above my daughter's. I bet you the reason she's estranged from her parents is an eye-opener if you ever find it out. Whatever she told you, it was bullshit. OP says, I don't know the reason, but I will admit the thought has crossed my mind. The fact that she is willing to blatantly ignore her niece's feelings, and that wearing a piece of heirloom jewelry on her wedding day is more important to her than the girls' connections to their beloved grandmother, is a bit concerning to me. Look, if she's trying to feel closer to your family, is there any jewelry that's yours or your sister's that could be given or loaned to her for her wedding day that isn't inherited from your mother? Your sister and your daughters who actually knew and loved your mother should, of course, take precedence over someone who has only heard about her. Not the asshole, and your brother is being absurdly pushy. OP replies, we have now decided to pitch in together to buy something new for her to wear on her wedding day, and to have as a gift from the family. I hope she will accept this. I could also give her something from me as a loan, but I feel buying something specifically for her would probably be better. It's not that I feel she shouldn't have anything, and I would honestly offer to give her a piece if I had any pieces to give. Not the asshole. Your brother is marrying a psycho. She's never met your mother but is distraught that she can't wear her dead mother-in-law's jewelry? You're correct. Your mum left the jewelry to you, and as you stated, your mother didn't even leave your brother's wife, his ex, jewelry when she passed. Your brother and his fiancé are acting crazy entitled, and you need to tell them no, and that if they bring it up again, you will have to excuse yourself from their presence. They are trying to bully you out of your daughter's heirloom jewelry and their birthrights. OP replies, I can actually see why she would like to have something. We were all very close with Mum, and I keep her memory alive, and it's tricky to enter into such a dynamic years later. I would give her something especially to wear on her wedding day, as she's estranged from her parents, if I had anything to give, but I can't take away from my daughters to help her feel better. Not the asshole. The items were left to you. No matter what happens in the future, your daughters will be your daughters. The same can't be said for your brother's fiancé. that relationship could end and then the jewelry wouldn't be a part of the family anymore. If they were married when your mother passed, maybe I would consider it, but they haven't tied the knot, so don't give her anything. And OP says, this has been brought up a lot, but I feel I can't in good conscience bring up the fact that their marriage might fail as an argument. Not the arsehole. If your mum specifically left them to you, you would be the arsehole if you and your sister decided between yourselves to take all of the nice jewelry without giving any to brother. But what about if or when he has daughters? OP says, he was childless back then with no intention of starting a family, and his first wife got an inheritance of her own, and so did he. He was completely fine with us deciding what to do with the jewelry, as neither him nor his ex-wife were interested. The issue only came up with his fiancée recently. Had he voiced his objections 10 years ago, I would not have spent the last 10 years preparing my daughters, and the situation would be different. Also, legally, all items belong to me, and I am under no obligation to discuss or share with anyone. I discussed with my sister because it seemed fitting, and again, he was not interested. Why not ask the first wife for paintings? And OP says, asking first wife for her paintings might be an even harder no than the jewelry question, honestly. She received those paintings because she loved our mother and her art, and she was a family member in her own right after replacing my mother as my disabled father's full-time caretaker after my mother fell ill. I am not close to her anymore, but I respect her and my mother's wishes enough to not hunt her down after 7 years for what is legally and rightfully hers. And now, on to the update. Thank you all for your kind messages and advice. I would never have expected to get so much valuable support and insight from strangers on the internet. Thank you, really, from the bottom of my heart. We came together with my brother and his fiancée after I had many of your replies to my husband and sister. I stated clearly that I will support her in any way possible and that it's very important for me to welcome home to the family property, but the jewelry is off the table because I believe I am fulfilling my mother's wishes and I cannot hurt my daughters. I added that I believe that this is not the right way to join a family and that we should strive to resolve this conflict before it creates more tension between my daughters and their uncle and future aunt, and also amongst us siblings. At first, I thought my brother really saw my point, and he seemed happy that we offered to pitch together to buy something for his fiancée. Unfortunately, she is not willing to accept this. As some of you pointed out, she seems to believe that she ranks right beside my sister and me when it comes to our late mother and supersedes my daughters. Well, she talked about her rightful place in the family and how she went no contact with her family because they denied her the respect that she deserves and that she will not hesitate to do the same with us. She also talked a lot about the pain of not being able to have any heirloom jewelry for her wedding. And honestly, I believe a few days ago I would have given in if presented with her tears, but thanks to your kind words, I was able to see through her emotional manipulation, and really, now that I'm aware of what she's doing, it is so obvious. I must say that my brother looked very uncomfortable. She then stated that it would be a waste to give my pieces to my daughters, since they would just sell them for money to buy makeup, which is absurd. I ended the conversation at this point, stating that I hold firm to my boundary and that they're free to do whatever they feel is the right thing for them. I am heartbroken, and I hope my brother will change his mind. So, no happy ending, but thanks again. In the comments, that's great that you've seen her for what she really is. Good luck to your brother because the fiancé sure sounds like a peach. Well done for looking out for your baby girls. I know they're 18, but they will always be your babies. And OP says, they are capable and wise, but they should not bear the consequences of the quarrels of others that they have no part in. And although I'm heartbroken by all of this, I can firmly feel my mother's support in this, as she put me in charge to protect what belongs to her granddaughters and daughters. Thank you for your support. In response to a longer comment, OP says, thanks again. I appreciate your encouragement. I hope their next move will be one of love and understanding, but it's hard to tell what they will do. While I don't believe they are considering to physically steal the pieces from me, I have now given the 2 pieces meant for the younger girls to my mother-in-law for safekeeping at her house until the dust settles. She is obviously livid at the treatment of her granddaughters. The girls felt a lot of pressure from their uncle, which is so heartbreaking. My eldest, on the other hand, calls her future aunt a grifter and says she will not accept any change of plan to accommodate her, so she will receive her piece as planned. She's also been looking forward to wearing it for a long time. I have no words really at this point. I'm just hoping for the best. 2006 Bruin says, "It would be a waste to give the pieces to my daughters because they would only sell them for the money to buy makeup. That woman is projecting. Don't forget how she's no contact with her family because they wouldn't show her the respect that she deserves. I wonder what she demanded from them when that happened. What do you think? Item or money? I wonder why she has no heirloom jewelry to wear at her wedding. 'Cause she pawned it to purchase makeup, obviously." The ridiculous thing here is that OP said that jewelry isn't even expensive, so there won't be that much makeup to buy. It's not so much about the jewelry as it is the power play, I reckon. Parading around to strangers' heirlooms at the wedding to demonstrate whose word is the law is the goal. When my mum died, strangers showed up at our house saying that they were friends and saying she had promised them a keepsake. Could they look around? Apparently, there are grifters who scour obituaries and then pull this on emotionally distraught family and loved ones. I would tell bro to piss off. I would tell his fiancée to piss off too, and may she forever feel as if there are a few drops of urine that have yet to come out. I would tell sis to not give in to this utter bullshit and remind dad that mum was not a pushover, especially not in the face of greedy gimmies. Watch the next update be the brother doubling down because this piece of shit left him because OP said no. Our next post is by user James19104, titled, "My 15 male, dad 47 male, remarried, and I've lost everything I had to my new step-siblings, 16 female, 11 male, 10 male, who treat me horribly. My dad married my stepmother 3 months ago, and I feel like it made my life significantly harder and less pleasant. They moved in with us, and for the indefinite future, this situation will not change. We have a 3-bedroom house, and before they moved in, my dad and I had our rooms, both with bathrooms, and there was a smaller room which was a study for my dad. After they moved in, Jenny, 16 female, turning 17 next month, got my room, and I had to share the smaller room with Tom, 11 male, and Mike, 10 male. All my books, my telescope, my stuff are packed and in the basement now since there is no space anymore. This made me feel really angry, but my dad told me that I have to be a team player, and this is what him and his wife agreed on. Jenny treats me like shit. She sometimes acts as if I'm not there at all, and sometimes is super aggressive and hostile towards me. There was this one time that I asked Tom to stop going through my things, and she became so angry that I have no right to order her brother around. She told me to get it in my thick skull that I am not their big brother to tell them what to do, even though all I asked was for them to stop going through my things. She said it's best if I don't talk to them at all, since that way they will get less influence from a weirdo like me. What I don't get is that if she's so concerned that I might leave a bad influence on Tom and Mike, why doesn't she take them into her room? Tom and Mike don't respect any boundaries. They are always going through my stuff. I have a watch which was a gift from my mother, she died of cancer, and they took it from my drawer and lost it. I found it weeks later in the basement with its front glass broken. Before they moved in, I used to get a $100 allowance every month. Now Jenny gets $75, I get $35, and Tom and Mike each get $30. I had an Xbox, but these kids broke it too. I used to spend a lot of time with my dad. He used to come see me play basketball almost every week. He hasn't done it even once in the past 3 months, since he's always working overtime. We eat out once a week, and none of them in these 3 months have been to any of my favorite places, but Jenny, Tom, and Mike have each chosen their favorites more than once. I complained about all of it to my father last week, and he told me that family is all about sacrifices, and I have to make mine. Haven't I made enough sacrifices already? I feel like I'm the only one making sacrifices. I looked forward to them moving in here, but I now feel like an outsider in my own home. It's not my home anymore. Life has become very difficult for me. I spend as much time as I can outside because inside is so frustrating, but this is causing problems as well. My dad keeps telling me that not being around means I'm not accepting them as part of the family, while in reality, it's the opposite. So I get grounded for not being around, and being around is horrible. I don't want to live here anymore, but I'm only 15 and can't move out. I have nobody else who can take me in. I can't stay here for 3 more years. I will go crazy. I often fantasize about running away at night, but I know that's also as horrible, if not even more. I don't know what to do. Can anyone give me a suggestion? In the comments, Olivia Prestine says, "It sounds like Jenny is the biggest problem. If she's 17, is the plan for her to move out soon? Maybe you can talk to your dad about getting your own room and having the 2 younger boys share." OP says, "She is not going to move out. She will live at home when she goes to college. Parents have already given her permission to do this." I'd show him this post. Maybe if he sees how strangers are sticking up for you more than your own father, it might change his tune. Darkosaurus says, "First of all, who came up with the idea of giving 3 people the smaller room and your stepsister the larger one? Your father really needs to get his mind straight. Yes, you have to make some sacrifices, but so do the other children. He does not want to discipline them, though, to look good in front of your stepmom, but that needs to stop. Did you tell him about the watch? Breaking such an important piece of memory is extremely rude. Try to stand up for yourself as well as you can and call them out on their behavior. Maybe your stepmother will finally start to say something." Edit. "Apart from that, the age gap of 1 year to your stepsister justifies a $40 difference, whereas the 4 to 5 year age gap to your stepbrother justifies a $5 difference?" OP replies, "They thought Jenny is older and needs more personal space and her own bathroom. I disagreed, but was eventually told to deal with it." Your dad is totally screwing this up. If he thinks you're all on a team and he's the leader, he needs to remember that a leader, 1, makes sure every person on the team is valued, 2, enforces rules fairly, and 3, solves problems instead of issuing judgments. OP, what outside adult can you talk with to be your advocate? This is bullshit. This is pretty much what I was going to say. This doesn't sound like a team approach. The sacrifice should be spread out among everyone, not just one child. And now, onto the update. Okay, a lot has happened. I decided to just ask my dad and stepmother for some time to talk to them, and I just showed them my post on Reddit. They took a good half an hour reading it. There were times that it looked like they were going to start crying. Eventually, they told me that they needed more time and will talk about it in a couple of days. 2 nights later, my dad asked me to come to their room, and to make it short, they got it. They both hugged me, and at some point, my stepmother started crying. They apologized to me for their negligence and told me that they effed this up. They put all their attention and focus on helping my step-siblings adjust given the new living arrangements and everything, and neglected how difficult it must have been for me. They promised me that things will change. About the room arrangement, they realized that it's not reasonable, so they offered me the basement as a lot of you suggested. We went to the store and bought a lot of supplies and made it a family exercise for everyone to contribute to refurbishing the basement and making it like a bedroom. So I'll have my own room now. It won't have a bathroom like before, but I can really share a bathroom with the boys. That's not a problem. The money allowance changed as well. It was Jenny 75, me 35, Mike and Tom 30 each. Now it's Jenny 60, me 50, and the boys 30 each. So $15 from Jenny comes to me now. I think it's much more fair. It's not as good as the $100 I used to have, but this arrangement is something that I can easily understand and accept. Now to Jenny. Well, my stepmother told me that Jenny's problem is not me, it's that her mother married and she doesn't like that because she was hopeful that she would return to her dad. Now she's trying to make this not work, and I'm just in her crosshairs. Apparently she's been a little biatch to my dad as well. She promised me that she will handle Jenny and make sure she won't be a problem. Now to the boys. This is the most difficult one as they're 10 and 11. They gave me a small lock so I can lock my bag for now, and when the basement is ready, which it will be in a couple of weeks, I can lock the door and only me and the parents will have the key. So at least my stuff will be safe. About other things, they also made little changes to make things easier. They told me that I can come to them for any problems, and my dad promised me some father-son time every couple of weeks as well. I was happy with everything. They addressed most of the issues and found solutions, and so far done their best to do everything that they promised. Jenny came to me a few nights later and asked if I would come with her for a walk in the neighborhood as she wanted to talk to me. So we went and she apologized to me for everything and told me that she didn't and still doesn't like that her mum married my dad, and she was forwarding her anger and frustration towards me, the only person she could, which was not right. She said that I'm probably going through similar things as she does, and really there's no reason for us to make each other's lives even more difficult than it already is. So I accepted her apology, and we shook hands on being on the same team from now on. And honestly, she's been very different ever since. She's helping me a lot in preparing the basement, and she makes Tom and Mike help me as well. The other day when I asked Tom to turn the TV volume down and he refused, she told him to listen to your big brother. Yeah, good things. I hope she remains this way. Overall, things are a lot better. I trust my stepmother a lot more now. Jenny is much better than before, and we're becoming more and more like a family, and the place looks and feels like home again. Thanks for all of your suggestions and help. I owe you all a lot. In the comments, Peter says, "It's a relief to hear a post where the parents make this smart decision and not double down on the not-so-good behaviors that are happening. All in all, I'm happy that things are improving in the end and that Jenny has apologized. Teenagers can be a handful sometimes, but that's just teens. It actually made me cry, seeing how hard they're all trying. Family is effed up, but at least this family, when confronted by pretty stark evidence of utterly failing, rebuilt the aeroplane mid-flight rather than chucking out a suffering passenger. I hope they end up okay." Actual growth? In my Reddit? Anyway guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!